Hi everybody, welcome back to Cars and Guitars. Doing some metal fabrication here on the Sunbeam Tiger. I got a few panels made up and set in place there so I can mark where I'm going to butt weld them in. You see some drips there of black paint because I painted the insides of them. I sand them with a bit of 80 and put some chassis black in there to seal them up. They're looking pretty good. This has a bow on the bottom. You can see that it bows down and then back up towards the back. And it's got a bow to it, a sweep to it sideways. I can show you on the other panel I have made. I have this one made too. You can see how it's wide there. And then it tapers off a bit and then goes wide again at the back for this bend in here. So I had to make some paper templates just to make all that line up perfect. So I used the best rocker, which was this one, as my template to get the lines in there to do my bends. And same here, I got the front fender made up for, the lower front fender made up for this side too. And I got them sealed up on the back. Like I said, you can see some black chassis, black paint there. And I'm working on the back panel here right now, as you can see there. So there's two ways of doing this lip. If you put it in a stretcher like this, I put it in my stretcher and I find it where your line is here. And if you just keep stretching, the panel will lift up and it'll get my little shape here. It'll bend up and go in that groove. And then I'll mark it in the back, which I already did. And then I'll put it in a shrinker and it'll fold it back around. It'll bring it back. And there'll be a bit of hammer and dollying a bit. And I put a sharp dolly in my vise and I'll hammer on the bend and flatten it out a bit to make it a little bit crisper here, a little bit sharper bend. And also what I did with the two front lower patch panels I made was I rolled it in the wheel and I did the 90-degree bend on the lip, and I put a little bar, little T-dolly I had in my vise, and I had this line mark where I'm going to put my little groove in there, and I hammered on the lip up, and I had this upside down laying on a T-dolly, and put a little mark along in there, and I kept banging it back and forth, kept moving it along, and it put the same sort of indent in there, so it runs along in there. And then I had to, but it caves this part in a bit, so I had to put it in the English wheel and just try to stretch it back a little bit and then hammer again on this because it would flatten it out and keep going back and forth. So that's another way you can do it too if you don't have a shrinker stretcher. And it works the same way. And this is the other way. They're both takes the same amount of time. So it doesn't really matter. It all depends on what kind of tools you have. This was pretty fast actually with the stretcher. And then shrinking around will go fast. It just takes seconds actually. And this wasn't too long, but it's just, it's kind of hard to, you can't see too good when you got it upside down bang it if you mark both sides, but then there's a bit of fooling around hammer and all. You can see my hammer marks in there. But either way, it still works. I put the old rocker back on here and clamped it in place just because I wanted to go over the, there's a seam there where the two panels go together. And that's, I wanted to overlap it because I'm going to do a butt weld. The factory leaded it and I wanted to eliminate that. So then I'll cut this back a bit and I'll do a butt weld in there and butt weld the whole thing on. And I'm not going to put the rockers on first. That's why I'm making everything. That's why I got everything sealed up on the inside. And I'll probably put a coat of epoxy primer on the outside of these and let them set up so they don't flash rust, because I have to do some repairs on the inside. I got to make this piece in here, up here, and down here you can see. So, and on the inside to the back so you can see they're all rotten. So I got to make all those first, both sides. You see how it's rotten in here. Even the lip's missing on this side. And there's some holes there. I got to make a little piece in there after. You can see some rust in there. It's missing a bit of the panel, so got to make those up. So I'll sand all these down.